Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Live long and freeze dry. Well, today we're going to subtitle this one Thunder's Blunders. Every so often I do something really stupid and end up having to do something else to mitigate my screw up. And last week I did the grocery shopping and bought a bag of potatoes and then realized, oh my goodness, we're gonna be gone for 5 days. We went down to Texas to see the baby, and well, we came home to this. As you can see, my 5-pound bag of potatoes is all wanting to look around the house. They've all sprouted eyes, and you know, once they do that, they're going to start to go soft. And well, I'm not wasting these potatoes. What I'm going to do is take the potatoes, cut the eyes off, and the eyes I will plant out back in some 5-gallon buckets that I've got dirt in, and we'll grow some potatoes for later this year. Then I'm going to wash the potatoes, peel them, we're going to get them boiled up, and they're going to end up in trays, and they're going to go through the Blue Alpine freeze dryer and get made into instant potatoes for whenever the heck we need them down the road. So if you want to hang about, I'm going to get these things peeled up and then we'll get them boiling. So when you cut the eyes off the potatoes, if you're going to go ahead and use them to plant, then so when you cut off the potatoes, you're going to cut the eyes off and use them to plant. You want to leave a little bit of potato attached to it. I guess that acts as a little bit of fuel to get the thing started in the ground. And yes, I have grown potatoes from these eyes like this in the past. They've been small, but they've been there. And it doesn't take but a minute to shove them in the dirt. Let them do their thing. If they don't grow potatoes, well, then they've fertilized the ground that we put them into. And if they do, bonus. I think this bag of potatoes cost about $6. We tend to like to get the Yukon Gold potato. They're a little waxier than a russet, and they make for a smoother texture in whatever you're using them in. So we'll set these aside. We'll get these washed up, chopped up, cut up, and put into the water. When they're done boiling, we'll take them, we'll mash them up, and we'll get them on the trays. See you in a bit. Okay, potatoes are on the boil. It'll probably take 30-40 minutes before they're done. In the meantime, we're going to step out into the murderous July heat here in Missouri, and I'm going to drop some of these spuds into the ground here. What we've got right here now is we've got some sweet potatoes here, and those are some of the Yukon Gold. This bucket here is what I've been using to start some stuff. I've got a couple cloves of garlic in there somewhere, and we'll put a couple of these potatoes in. And heck, as much rain as we've had around here lately, the soil's still in decent shape. We've had absolutely zero luck with our cucumbers, beans, and corn. Now the corn, we've got a stinking squirrel that's been coming over here and tearing it all up. So we're just going to go ahead and drop some more potatoes in this one. And I keep saying I'm going to go out here on the other side of the fence, till that up, plant some corn there, but I just know if I do that, little Bambi and her mother will be over here eating them. And if I ever get a shot at Richard the squirrel, he's going to catch a BB in his... Oh, that's disgusting. Bunch of ants or something in this basket. We'll see how these potatoes do. Try one more over here. None of our beans have done anything. I thought that was supposed to be something easy to plant. But then again, you know, you're talking to the only Italian on the planet that can't grow a tomato. Or let's just say I haven't brought a tomato to fruit and pick yet. This is the raised bed that we started earlier this year. And you can see there are a few tomatoes on there. We got some basil going down there. There's another tomato. Another one. We got lots of flowers. Maybe they'll come up and turn into tomatoes for us. Now these tomato plants, believe it or not, Becky bought them from Amazon, and they're doing nuts. The small ones over here in the corner we got at a nursery, and they are doing not too much. There's one tomato, 2 plants. Lots of green, no tomatoes. And then here's some cayenne peppers, a couple of jalapenos. Again, the peppers we got from the nursery, they're not doing anything. I don't know, I think those are cayenne peppers. Cayenne peppers we get off Amazon, and they're doing lovely. These 2 tomato plants over here are also from Amazon. There's probably 5 or 6 tomatoes on that plant. There's 3 on this one, also from Amazon. This is supposed to be zucchini. We're getting lots of flowers, but we're not getting any zucchini, so I don't know. Cucumbers, and again, more beans that aren't doing anything, and I don't know. Nothing else. It's just, if nothing else, it's just keeping me busy, getting used to my first year in retirement, and keep me from pulling my hair out, I guess. So we're gonna let the potatoes upstairs. Once they're done, we'll get up there, get them mashed up, put on the trays, covers, and we'll get them into the freeze dryer, and we will be back with that shortly. Alrighty guys, it's been about an hour. The potatoes are boiled, and steamed up the lines there. Okay, I'm going to transfer them to a bowl, mash them up, get them on the trays. I did leave the skins on. It's supposed to be a lot of nutritional value in the skins, and we like them that way. So rather than having $6 bag of potatoes go bad, we're going to end up with 5 pounds of mashed potatoes on the shelf, down in the pantry after they come out of the freeze dryer. I'm probably going to save this potato water, because you know there's a lot of the starches from the potatoes are in the water here, and I'm planning on starting a batch of rye whiskey this week, and I can use the potato water to help to add to the starches in the mash that we'll get the we'll use the potato water as part of our mash build for the rye whiskey that I'm going to make. It's just add starch that'll end up turning to sugar, and that sugar will end up being eaten by the yeast, and we'll be left with the alcohol after the yeast get done with all the sugar. And then probably, I mean, that's going to take probably a month for that to cook. And then we'll get the still out, and we'll go ahead and run off a batch of rye whiskey, get it into a wooden barrel, and let it sit for, I don't know, maybe a year. I mean, in the smaller barrels you can get the stuff to mature and get some decent flavor out of the wood in 6 months, because there's a smaller volume of alcohol and a lot of wood surface for the whiskey to be in contact with. But that's another project we might or might not make a video about. But right now, we've got our potatoes mashed up. They're just a rough mash. We're not going to whip them or anything. And then we'll go ahead and get them out on the trays here and get ready to go into the freeze dryer. Right now, I've got melon, 5 trays of melon in the freeze dryer. I have no idea what kind of melon it is. My granddaughter came over one afternoon with this basketball-sized yellow melon and asked me if I would go ahead and freeze dry it for her. And this was just a few days after she had left 5 pounds of strawberries over here for me to freeze dry for her. And so the old Blue Alpine has been getting one heck of a workout. It has been running non-stop since we got back from Texas. And right now there's going to be 5 trays, or well, maybe 3 trays of potatoes that'll be going in. But there's 5 trays of leftovers. There's 2 trays of garlic in the freezer already, waiting for their turn to get into the freeze dryer. So it's getting a workout, but definitely is paid for itself. I mean, we paid like $3,000 when we got it, and I can definitely say that we've gotten more than $3,000 worth of product out of it. I'm actually going to be looking at a comparison of the cost of purchasing freeze-dried products as opposed to the cost of buying a freeze dryer and making your own freeze-dried product. I was noticing that like Mountain House has 7 pounds of ground beef for $90. Well, yeah, ground beef's kind of expensive right now, but $90 is ridiculous. Now, yes, it's been freeze-dried, and so it's going to store for a long time, and it's available to you when you can't get it otherwise. But I can get ground beef for, let's say, $6 a pound, and scramble it up, drain the grease, put it on the trays, and I can probably get about 5 or 6 pounds of ground beef into the freeze dryer. A freeze dryer run typically runs about $7 between the electric and the oil and the packaging. So it's a big difference. I'll break down the numbers and show it to you, but for right now, we've got our 3 trays of mashed potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and throw them in the freezer, and then probably tomorrow afternoon or the next day, they will go into the freeze dryer. When they're done, we'll take them out, get them processed and bagged up, and we'll weigh it up to see what 5 pounds of potatoes turns into after it goes through the freeze drying process. Catch up with you in a bit. Hey YouTube, We are going to run the potatoes and the garlic today. Not worried about the potatoes getting a little bit of a garlic flavor to them because we usually season them with salt, pepper, and garlic anyway. Yeah, but because I am doing garlic, which is pretty pungent, I put the charcoal filter on the muffler, and that'll help cut some of the smell down. We've got the Blue Alpine in mode, starting to cool down, and we will put in our trays. This is about, I'd say 4 or 5 pounds of garlic that I peeled. I chopped it up, added some water, ran it through the Ninja to get it down to a slurry, and then we'll make garlic powder out of it. I figure this run will take at least 24 hours of dry time because of the amount of moisture that's in the garlic slurry. That little extra time, the potatoes, and it's not going to bother it. They are pre-frozen. They were in the freezer for at least 24 hours. So we will drop our freeze cycle down to just a couple hours, just to make sure that we get the tray rack down to 0 before it kicks in. So there we go. We'll let it run. Tomorrow sometime, let's see, it's 7 o'clock on Monday morning. So probably tomorrow afternoon sometime we ought to be done. And we'll get it out. We'll buzz up the garlic into powder and get it jarred up. And then we will put the mashed potatoes, some into jars and some into Mylar for our long-term storage. And I'll just have to remember that when I order potatoes from the grocery store, make sure I'm going to be able to use them before they get all covered in eyes. So we'll let this thing run its course. You know, Blue Alpine's going to do the job for us. Again, I can't recommend enough that you look into getting yourself set up with a freeze dryer. Blue Alpine has some really nice machines right now. If you do decide to invest, they have the new Elite model. This is the original Blue Alpine Medium, but they now have the Medium Elite, and the software is different. The heating tray is a little different. It has temperature sensors on each shelf instead of one for the rack, and there's more settings, there's more recipes already programmed in. So, you know, for ease of operation and more options, spend a few extra bucks, get the better one. There'll be a link in the description. We will catch back up with you tomorrow. Okay guys, it's time to go down to the freeze dryer room and get the mashed potatoes and the garlic out. You can see I've done a little rearranging, put some of our freeze-dried product here in the hall on some shelves that had some books and stuff on them before. I kept my favorite books up on the top. Jim Butcher. If you haven't read Jim Butcher, you are really missing out. And then Terry Goodkind, another just amazing writer. And then there in the middle are my 3 books. Check them out. So we're down here, and let's see, we get 115 degrees, 919 on the mTORs. Been running 27 hours total. Let's take a look. Hey guys, for some reason my my GoPro did not record any audio for this section, and in fact it recorded at a higher rate than normal speed, so I had to go do some editing in a different program just to get it down to where you could watch it and see what's going on. But here I'm taking the trays out of the Blue Alpine. There were 2 trays of the garlic powder and then the 3 trays of the mashed potatoes, and they came out fine. I went ahead and set the thing in defrost and put it down to go. Get it prepared for the next load. Now we're, I'm messing with the camera there, trying to see what the heck's going on. So, we get the Ninja out, and we're going to do the potatoes first. We'll go ahead and break it up and drop it in there, and we're going to buzz it up into a powder. I had been talking to you earlier about, when I showed you the pantry shelves coming down the stairs and all the freeze-dried product in jars on the shelves, I did show you my favorite books that I have on that one shelf, and one of the authors, my favorite author, Jim Butcher, he writes a series called The Dresden Files. It's about a modern-day wizard, from Chicago, and his interactions with the supernatural, and he's a detective and all of that. I'm actually listening to that on my shocks while I was filming this video. The book I was listening to there is called Skin Game, and that's where he and some of his friends and other characters take a trip into Hades to steal the Holy Grail. Great series. You should look it up. I think there's 17 books in it. I think you'd enjoy it. I listen to Audible, but I also have the books, some of them in hardback, some of them in paperback. So we are getting the potatoes buzzed up here, and I had told you that I was going to weigh what came out of the freeze dry as opposed to what went into the Blue Alpine, and the 5 pounds of potatoes that were boiled, mashed, and put into the freeze dryer returned a volume of about 28 ounces of powder. Now, when you go ahead and reconstitute the stuff, you're going to get that same volume back, and you're not losing anything. You're just gaining a whole lot of storage time. So that's what that came out to. The next thing we started to process was the garlic. Now, the garlic was 5 pounds of garlic that I peeled and blended up with some water to make a slurry, poured it into the trays, ran it through the Blue Alpine, and when it was finally taken and processed down to a powder, we got about 8.5 ounces of powder. Very aromatic, very pungent. There you can see I'm breaking it up in pieces off the tray. I will tell you this, that if you're going to run the garlic in your Blue Alpine, and you're going to use your silicone mats, you're going to have to clean those mats and treat them a little bit afterwards. The smell from the garlic did seem to hang on to the silicone, so I had to wash them with hot soapy water, and then I put some vinegar in them and let them sit for a while. That didn't do it. Finally, I scrubbed them with some baking soda and hot water, and then put them out on the deck in the sunshine, and that did the trick. There's no smell left with them anymore. Perfectly good to use for whatever I'm running through. I don't have to set those two aside and say, these are only for onions and garlic or, savory foods, that it doesn't matter. Do not put strawberries or blueberries on this, blah, blah. But yeah, came out well. Everything worked fine. Did have to clean the inside of the chamber with some rubbing alcohol and get everything in there all freshened up, made everything smell good, and actually have a load of leftovers down in the freeze dryer as I'm making this video. This freeze drying thing is a real deal. You can see all of the bags of freeze dried food that I've got up on the shelf there. You saw the stuff in the jars on the shelves coming down the stairs, and then you can see the bins there behind me. I've got like 6 bins just full of all kinds of food, meats, cheeses, eggs, rice dishes, you name it, and it's all going to be good until past the time I'm dead if I don't use it. And that's the thing. Check out Blue Alpine. Check yourself into getting a freeze dryer. It's going to be worth it. And until the next one, live long and freeze dry.